I think my problem is like, obviously I care about people. I care about what they, think about me or what I say about them. But at the same time, there's nobody that in my life that I'm like that afraid to offend or like disrespect. Like there's nobody that.
That's that 20-year-old.
Yeah, maybe I'll
that's
change
that
my mind
20-year-old.
about that eventually. But
That's the youth. That's the youth.
Say anything. What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Oh man, about that.
let me tell you,
Man.
That's the youth.
Yeah, that's that kid energy for sure. Not calling you a kid, but
Yeah,
when people are kids, when they got kids, they don't anything they got in their mind, they just say it. It's there. It's out in the atmosphere.
Hey, Dre.
Welcome back to the 2.5 LLCs Podcast. I'm your host, Dre, and I am back. And Antwon is back as well.
I'm back.
Now, I don't know exactly when this episode is going to come out because we have said a lot of changes to the podcast already. But just to make clarifications on what exactly has happened. Yes, Zoe, Trav, and Nas are officially not hosts of the 2.5 LLCs Podcast going forward.
Damn.
That doesn't mean they're not going to be on the show going forward sometimes when they want to pull up. But as official hosts, they are not hosts of the show any longer. Nothing bad happened. We all just came to agreement that as far as podcast host-wise, we decided to part ways. Now, we're all still cool outside of the show, but as far as the show goes, they are no longer hosts.
Much love to all the bros.
For sure. Most definitely. But with that being said, this is the continuation of season 3. I know season 2 is short, but we had to go through some major changes for us to get better, improve, and still figure this thing out, because I believe the most important thing in life is to learn how to figure it out and navigate and adapt to your new or current situation that you're in. You may be a little low right now, financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, but as long as you know how to navigate that time and you figure out what you need to combat and conquer that situation, you'll be okay. Look at the tip of the day. Learn how to adapt and you'll be okay. Know how to adapt and you'll be okay. And just remember, most people in the world do not care about you. Always remember that. With that being said, welcome back to the 2.5 LLCs Podcast. My name is Dre, and I have Antwon to my left, a.k.a. your right. And to my right, a.k.a. your left, we have special guest, a.k.a. new intern to AMI Studios, Sam. What's going on with you, sir?
I'm chilling. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Now, first. Speaking of that, how is everybody doing?
Everybody, well, I'm better. Work in progress, but I'm better.
Okay. Good. Glad to hear it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm alright. New state. It's a new time in my life. Just got out of college, and from Arizona, college in Arizona. I'm down here, completely different side of the country. So I'm just getting used to the state, the area, and it's cool to be here. New in the studio and just checking everything out and just living, trying to be all right mentally and just take it a day at a time, really. So yeah.
That's what's up. Glad to hear it. Now, we like to ask our guests 2 very important questions.
Oh, boy.
And to start, we're going to just knock them out so we can get to the rest of the show. We're getting
Okay.
back in the swing of things. So, a word or a phrase that makes you great.
Passionate.
Elaborate.
I feel like,
How do you know you're passionate?
well, growing up, my family extremely religious, and that's something they're passionate about, and it keeps them kind of in this small circle of living. And I drove entirely across the country to go pursue my dreams in audio and music. And I've been doing that for years, just meeting all these new people and spending a whole lot of money, spending a whole lot of time on my dreams and what I'm passionate about, which is music. And that kind of solidified it to me. I'm doing everything different, completely different than anyone in my family really ever has. So, and I grew up in a small town. You don't see any of them, moving across the country.
What's that town?
It's called Brunswick, Maine.
Brunswick, Maine.
So yeah, shout out,
Brunswick.
but
Yeah.
not that they deserve it. But yeah, so that's what solidified it to me. A lot of times to grow, you got to get out of your comfort zone, and it's not easy for me personally to do that, especially with the way I grew up. But yeah, all of that is a combination of why I would say I'm passionate about music. It's all I think about. It's all I want. So
Are you a musician? You an engineer, producer? What is it that you do?
all of it. When I'm in the engineer place, I want to be a producer, but it's not always about that. So, but I'm really an artist at heart. I'm a vocalist, so I love singing. Like I said, I was telling you earlier, 2 years ago, I started making music. 3 years ago, I started making music, and my homie that I would always do it with, he was a rapper, so we only made like hip hop. And before that, I was writing more like pop R&B type songs, and then it was just like with him, it was just 2 years straight of hip hop, and now I'm getting more back into that pop R&B because I just love singing, and I don't think I was ever meant to be a rapper. I want to stick to what I'm good at. So, yeah, artist at heart. I went to school to be an engineer mostly, and I would love to be a producer one day too. Produce my own stuff.
Now, another question we do like to ask our guests is, what is your brand?
Oh, damn.
Don't worry. You're
Yeah,
not the first
yeah.
one to, stumble on it, but you are required to answer.
I got you. My brand is genuineness. Most of all, care about your fellow human beings. Where I grew up, there was a lot of not sure what the right word is, but nobody really cared about anyone else. It was a lot of me, what can I get? Fake friends using you for this or for that. And that's how it is pretty much everywhere. I don't feel like caring about your fellow human beings is being promoted as much as it should be. Even when it's like being promoted so much right now, mental health, you got to do what you got to do to stay happy, healthy, state of mind, things like that. And not as much what can you do to help other people do that for themselves too. Acts of like kindness, things like that. As much influence as I'll ever have in my life, that's what I want to promote most, is put yourself aside enough to care about how everyone else is doing. I mean, everyone else, random people on the street, it's not that hard. That's just my opinion. I wish more people would care, because growing up, I felt a huge lack of that, even from my family. My family moved around a lot. I went to smaller schools, so I didn't really have anyone around me that cared for me. So that made an impact on me, and I want to promote that as much as I can.
I like it. But I feel like there's another answer more, because when I ask people what is their brand, it's more of the fact of who are you to the people who are investing in you? What I mean by that is, if you're on social media heavy, when they click on your page, what are they going to see that you do, that you offer, the value that they can gain from looking and watching you?
What makes you stand out? What makes someone say, I want to listen to him, I want to work with him?
Yeah. All of that's really in a work of progress state right now.
Okay.
I've been busy with school, and still just trying to figure out what I want that to be, honestly. I'm not working with a ton of people right now. The most collaboration I've done really was at school. I was there for 9 months, and there was, hella rappers, musicians, performers. So it was a great place to start collaborating with people. But like I said, before that, I was at a small town. Not many musicians there, not many artists. So it was mostly just me working with me. And I wasn't trying to promote myself yet because my stuff was garbage and I knew I needed work. So, yeah, I think that's to be determined, honestly. And I'm looking forward to that.
Like the video. Stop playing with yourself. Like the video. Like the video.
What
Listen.
you doing, Sam?
Listen. Stop playing with yourself. Like the video. Why do we ask you to like the video? One, you will become greater when you do. One, most importantly. But two, it's to help us be seen in the algorithm, because we may talk about things that are controversial and they may not get picked up. And we know we've been gone for a second, but it's all about the return and the comeback and adapting to new situations and new circumstances. That's what it's all about. Still, though, like the video. Stop playing with yourself. 2.5 LLCs Podcast. What you doing?
What are you doing?
Exactly. Great question. What are you doing currently? So around, if we can say, what we aspire to do or what are we doing currently in our lives, what we can start with the guest. What are you doing currently besides this internship?
Just honestly thinking a lot. I got a lot of time on my hands right now I just got here, but I'm getting to know the area a little bit. Cause out of all the places to go, I chose to be here. And so I want to explore the area, see what I like to do here. And, I'm also getting to know a few people from back home, from where I've been, getting to know them a little better, and just thinking about where I want to go in my life after this internship. Do I stick around here? Do I go somewhere else? Honestly, just a lot of thinking, and I like to game, so I've been gaming with my family back home. My brother, he's a big gamer, so we hop on, and that's about it. Got a lot of time on my hands, just chilling.
Got you. What about you, sir?
What was the question again? What are we becoming, right?
What you working on?
Really, personally, just becoming just a better all-around person, or a more complete person. More specifically, a better father. Not that I was ever a bad one, but if it's any area that I will always expect myself to grow and continue to grow and get better at, it's definitely being a father. And like I said, just being a better person and better state of mind. It's really it, like, for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to get this bag, man. Trying to get more of this bag, if I'm being honest. On a serious note and on a non-serious note, that's what I'm trying to get to, this bag. Why do I say that? It's money I have attained and I can't attain. I've noticed that not enough people know how great I am. And I don't think I know how great I am at times either. I don't say that to be cocky or boisterous, but it's a fact. Not in my opinion, it's a fact. No, it's just a fact. Because I don't realize at times how much work I've put in and what my resume has so far and what I've done as far as being in the studio, music, video production, podcast production, editing videos, all of that. And now adding to the resume photography and graphic design work I've done in the past and doing now. I have a lot of things that I've done. I made and cultivated a brand for myself called retrosoundwavmedia, and it works. But a lot of people still don't know.
It's time to level up, Dre.
With that being said, I have to do a better job of promoting myself because I know for a fact at this point, not saying I won't, I don't feel right and I can't work a regular job. It feels weird. It feels foreign because I've been not in a regular job for 2 years now. When I got out of college, I worked here. And it was pandemic stuff happening, so it wasn't too much else to do at the time. So it was a blessing in disguise. But let's say if I went back, would I do this again? Of course. Would I think about a few more things and elaborate a few more stuff while I'm doing this? Of course. Yes. That's one thing I would say. I didn't all the way calculate or think about what else I needed to do to grow my brand and myself, because you're not gonna get fed by the clients that just get recommended to you by this place you work at. You have to go as a freelancer entrepreneur. You have to go look and scout clients for yourself. And for me, that's not saying it's not the best, but most artists are in clubs. I don't go to clubs. Clubs isn't my scene. So now I have to figure out another way to gain more clientele as far as studio work wise, working in a record studio. Anyway, find another way to gain people, clients for my business. Now also, I don't just do music either. Also creating videos, podcasts, graphic design, photography a little bit. So now I have a resume that I can show people, website, works, so far and so forth. This is what I've done. This is what I can do for you. But now I have to be able to sell it. I am not the best seller. Can I do it? Yeah. Am I the greatest at it? No. Because as a seller for yourself, now you can sell anything, but can you sell what you're trying to do and what you're going for in life? Can you sell your passion? Can you sell your business? Can you sell why you're great at what you do to somebody? That's the most important thing that people, in my opinion, that are in this lane or even in general need to know how to do, is know how to sell. Not saying you have to, because not everybody can, but it's definitely a useful tool, because nobody's going to buy in if they don't know who they're talking to.
Not everybody wants to either. Like, people talk all the time about when you're doing all this, it's going to burn you out unless you're doing it because you love it. And it's got to start with you doing it for you. And when you grow out of that, or if you grow out of that, it's like a burnout time. Sometimes. Not for everyone. People like you, like, it's crazy how much you're able to do. And I give you props for all that. For real. How old are you?
24.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's the prime. Like, that's a great time to be doing all this. But I think, while I hear what you're saying, I think a lot of people that end up doing big things, like, sometimes didn't even want it like that. They were just doing it fully for themselves because they knew they were great, and that was enough. You know what I'm saying?
That's one thing. Yeah, she keep falling. That's one thing I had to get back into myself. Is doing stuff just for, I like doing this, but I also had to realize what I like doing, what I didn't like doing. Not saying I can't do this, but for a fact, I don't like doing music videos. I just don't. I like filming, I like recording stuff, but I don't like doing music videos. Why do you not like doing music videos, Dre? Because in my opinion, just from my experience anyway, People like to waste time. People like to invest what needs to be to create a great video. And also, in my opinion, it's just what people ask for. It's not all that creative, in my opinion. Just from who I've had experience with in time. It's not a diss to anybody. Just my opinion on that where I'm at right now. Now, I'm not saying I'll never do one ever again. I'm not saying that. But I know I don't like it. If I had to pick career or what in video specifically, it's not that. That's just something I know for a fact I don't like doing. Now I had to get back into, all right, I'm great. Also need to build my resume, but I have to start with me. I have to start doing what I believe I can do for myself, for other people, but also have to make content for myself because not just to sell, but I want to do it. But you have to start doing it.
Yeah.
Because you say you want, I say I want to do stuff, but I haven't always been getting up, hey, let's go film something. I haven't always done that and put it out. Now I'm starting to put it out, content out. I told people all the time, hey, you need to put your stuff out. I haven't even been doing that myself all the time. So it's always just a road of, I've been really analyzing and thinking because I know for a fact I'm about to turn 25 in like a couple weeks. I'm in a turning point right now. If I don't push how hard I know I can and accurately, I'm going to make mistakes, of course, but it's going to fall. Mentally, I know I'm in the right place. I just have to build on it and be consistent and persistent. And just making what I want to do come to fruition. It's going to take time, of course it is. But I have to make sure I'm looking and scouting the opportunities out so I can become a better version of me.
Here's a question.
What's up?
If, God forbid, like it didn't go the way you wanted it to in your life.
Yeah.
This is a question I ask myself all the time. I think about all the time. If that were to happen, would you be okay as a person?
Yeah. Because this wasn't my first dream, my first passion. It was basketball.
I feel like personally, it never goes the way you want it to go. Anyway, not the first time, not to start off. Usually, it's always a learning experience before you get it right. I don't think anybody jumps into anything and have it right immediately when you start. So I don't think it going wrong is necessarily like deterrent from your goal or anything, because it never happens when you want it to or how you want it to, exactly the way you want it to. It's always a bump in the road where sometimes you may have to adjust a lot, sometimes you may have to adjust a little, but I don't ever think it happens the way you want it to. Not from a starting out standpoint. I always think there's a learning curve in any and everything. It's I think
it's like how you gotta fail to succeed. You know, the more times you fail, the more times you're gonna succeed. I don't know.
And unfortunately, you have to take an L before you get the success you're looking and asking for. And that doesn't always have to mean the L's and lose but lesson. You need to just have that to reference from, because let's say if somebody, we've seen it all the time in athletes, let's use that as an example, the athlete who McDonald's All-American, College Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, then that second season hit, not in the playoffs, gets injured. What does he do next? Career's never the same. Another
thing, failure is also a part of your story. Because to kind of go with what you just said, who's the greatest basketball player of all time? They said Jordan, right? Jordan played 18 seasons, 20 seasons, something like that. He only had 6 titles. That means 14 of the seasons he failed because he wasn't a champion at the end, right? But he's still the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You have to look at it like that too. Like, you just have to make your wins. You're going to take some losses, but your wins, I guess you have to like maximize on them, because the reason why the greatest of all time was the way he done it. He never lost when he actually had a chance to finish the deal and become a champion. He never got there and lost. He won. So, again, he played 18, 20 seasons, 6 titles, greatest of all time. He lost a lot more than he won, but he made it count when it had to.
Yeah, facts.
So,
I got a question about something you said earlier about being a father. And I've heard all the time, when you become a parent, like everything changes. Your mindset changes. And obviously I'm not one that I know of. So I was always curious about what exactly that meant. And also, did you feel like that was a curveball in your life that you had to overcome?
all right, the first question, what it changes? What was the first question? I lost
That
it.
was the first question.
What it changes your mentality, because everything you do every day pretty much affects that part of you. Meaning, I can't go to my job and quit because somebody made me mad today.
Yeah.
Because that directly affects the money on the next check, which directly affects what I can and can't do, moving forward. Like every decision you make in life, where you live, everything is affected by that. Like, you have to make a decision based around that. I mean, I do anyway. I know some people just go with the flow, but having a child, every decision is based around that. At least for me, because it directly affects, him. So,
Gotcha.
and what was the second question?
Did you feel like that was a curveball in your life that you had to overcome?
I feel it was a moment for me to, like I said, put away childish things. In a sense, it's kind of like you have to grow up quick. And I think usually the ones who, because especially if it's unexpected, you're not planning it. Usually it's a moment of like, you have to grow up fast. And I think the ones that grow up and adjust faster to it are usually the ones who are least affected by it. Because it's no longer about you. It's no longer about really your enjoyment anymore. It's about like necessity. It's no longer about, you hanging out and having fun. It's more so about you being a provider and making sure things are in place, things are ready. You have to think further ahead. Like, you always have to think ahead, but now you have to think further ahead. Because, if you used to think about paycheck to paycheck, now you have to think about 18 years from now, college. You immediately have to start thinking further ahead. You have to think about what are you going to leave them, and how, you're investing into their future. And that's pretty much where you have to think further ahead. So,
Gotcha.
That's how I look at it. You pretty much, for me as a parent, you can't think of in the moment for multiple reasons. Obviously, that child is growing, so like, you can't think that one pair of shoes or those clothes you buy is going to last all year. You have to be thinking about, okay, in about another month or two, I think we're shopping again. So it's like you always have to think ahead and just kind of like have a mental note of like, I have to do something else, and that's pretty much how you have to go about it, in my opinion.
So with the second question, that was, where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect where you were going? Did that change your plans? Change after that?
No. It actually refocused me. It pushed me harder. It made me want it more, because for me personally, and this isn't a knock on anybody, I want to leave my son a brand, right? And I don't think you can necessarily do that by just, I guess, working like a 9 to 5. I want something of my own, like a studio or something I can pass down to him. So it, like, certain things don't matter anymore. So it's like if it's really not about improvement, um, like investing, whether it's the future, money, different things, you really don't really have time to like tolerate it. And also, I'm a lot older than like I don't know how old you are, but you say you're in college. How old are you?
20.
See, I'm a lot older than you too. So I'm 30. So the clock is like ticking a little faster for me to kind of get it together.
Sure.
Once again, like the video. Stop playing with yourself. Did y'all hear all that knowledge that just got dropped? Listen, y'all know to stop playing. Seriously though, once you do, you will become greater. With that being said, Sam, who are you? What are your goals? Excuse me. What do you plan to get out of this internship?
Who am I? Honestly, I'm just a kid from Maine, still trying to figure everything out. And past couple of years, I know what I wanted for myself. After I realized what I didn't want, which was first, and then I realized all the things that I did want, and I didn't feel like I had any other option than to try and make it happen. At least give it a shot. But I'm still, trying to figure everything out. And for a while I thought, like, 20 years old, I should have a few more things figured out. But now I know that's not the case. So I'm good with just admitting that I don't always know what I'm doing.
I'll tell you at 20 years old, make your mistakes.
Yeah.
Be proud of them. Because you're going to make them. A lot of them. At 20. Yeah. Trust me.
Some good advice.
Make your mistakes. Don't try to be perfect.
Yeah. My goals are, my biggest goal is I would love to be touring with my music eventually. Verified artist. I think what I want from my music is to help people to feel. There's a lot of music that makes people feel numb. And I've always been a very emotional person, in tune with my emotions. And I used to think that was a bad thing too. I used to think like, I got to stop being so emotional because people don't like that or whatever. And now I just embrace it because plenty of people don't feel enough, and it causes bad or harm to other people in the world. And when I started writing songs, people, when they heard it for the first time, would be crying or whatever. Like, I relate to that, just feeling something. And it felt good to be able to spread that to other people, to feel something, and to, whether it's like a good memory, a bad one, that feeling, being emotional is okay. And so I like that my music can produce that and cause that effect. And plus, it's just something that I love. It's fun. It helps me feel too. So I would love to be spreading that and helping other people have a good time, enjoy themselves, putting on a show and being creative with music videos. That was a big thing you were talking about earlier. People, it's a generalization, but tend not to be as creative with music videos as I feel like they could be. So I would love to explore that with my music. And what was the last thing? The internship. I honestly had no idea what to expect. It's a 9-month program at the school, and this is the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences I'm talking about in Tempe, Arizona. And they go through every possible circumstance that they think you might encounter. And so because there's so many different studios, so many different things you could experience, and different work they could put you to as an intern. What I wanted to get from the internship, regardless of whatever I experienced, was experience. Networking, meeting people, talented artists, engineers, and trying to take every moment, every grain of knowledge that I could, watch everything people are doing and just note it mentally, so that whether it's engineering knowledge or knowledge as a performing artist, I could take that back home with me to my own music, my own production of my music, and maximize myself wherever I can. That's pretty much it.
Make your mistakes, take your time, and take that risk. Yeah, 20. Tell me.
What risk?
Where you say you came from?
Arizona.
You said you had no idea about over here on the East Coast. Right?
I grew up in Maine, but that's completely different than down here.
Yeah, like I think you've already like taken a risk. Like, so.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's a calculated risk though. It's not like you just jumped
For
out
real.
and didn't think about it. But I say take calculated risk. Like do your research, take the risk, take that chance, I should say. I guess it's a safer word, chance than risk, right? Take that chance. Take that risk.
Yeah, I mean, it's still some people's chances are a risk.
Yeah, so yeah.
Because not every road's gonna be on the up and up. Some roads are bumpy. Some got some got deep potholes in them.
You can do a lot at 20. You're already off to a great start, honestly. If you're interning already, I feel like. But yeah, make your mistakes though. Don't try to be perfect. It don't mean like just like do anything, but like failure is a part of it. And I think when you kind of accept that, not that it's not going to bother you, not that it's not going to affect you, but I think you can get back on your feet a lot faster when you kind of accept that failure is going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely didn't know for a while.
Yeah, you're not going to, like, your first song probably isn't going to be a hit.
Yeah.
Like, your second one either. Third one, your first album probably isn't going to be a hit. Like, that's just what the odds say that it's probably not going to happen.
Let me ask you this. If I'm, like right now, I'm waiting to put out music until I feel like it's something I'm going to be proud of in a couple of years. Is that something that you endorse or don't?
I want to answer this first.
I'm a
Please,
non-artist.
please.
You're an artist.
I went through that road. Don't wait.
Yeah.
People have to get to know who you are before you become great. If that makes sense. They want to see the climb.
Yeah, I was going to say they want to feel like they're a part of the growth. Like, it's, again, like with sports. You ever notice when a new, fresh, young team start to begin to learn how to win and then eventually win a championship? The loudest people in the rooms are the ones who say they stuck with them through hard times. That's what that is. So put it out. That's like, to sum it up, is how I would look at it. I don't have any songs, but that's how I would look at it. Because they feel like they know you. Like you said, they feel like they know you. And they see where you started and where you're at. So I would say put it out. I mean, you've already done it. Obviously, you're going to get better. Every album is supposed to get better anyway, so why wait?
Yeah.
And if you're into it, record your progress on film. On your phone, obviously. I don't know if you got a camera or not. But try to anyway when you can. Because it's going to be great to look back at. And for your potential fans and just people wanting to see the journey, they will be able to look back. Oh, I remember this time. Because if you want to have a time machine in a human life form, look at music. Literally, you can go back in time by listening to old songs. So having that catalog and having those pieces of work out for people to see and hear, that's something they're going to remember. And we're in the era of, if I don't see you, I don't believe you. So you have to start posting if that's one of your goals to be an artist. Being consistent, putting a track out every week, every month, and keep doing it until you build up enough buzz for when you're dropping that project.
Yeah.
Because it's all about cultivating attention.
Also, what are you afraid of? Criticism? You're going to get that anyway. Your favorite artist is criticized. Your favorite song, if you look it up on YouTube, they have the thumbs up and thumbs down. It might have 1,000,001 likes. I'm pretty sure it has more than that, but it probably has 60,000 dislikes.
Yeah.
You gotta take the good with the bad, but I mean, it's all positive. If you really think about it, it's all positive. It's good that they like it, and then the criticism tell you what they think you should improve. Now, that's completely up to you, but it's all positive when it comes to that.
I think what I'm most afraid of is not having criticism and not having any, encouragement. No likes, no engagement, stuff like that.
That comes from mostly like promotion, like
Consistency.
Yeah, also, sometimes you may not get a thing, especially first starting out. But I don't know how your following and fan base is at the moment. I don't know. But if people don't know you as an artist and you're starting to make yourself branded and known as an artist, it's going to take a bit of an adjustment because people didn't grow up seeing you that way. But now this is you. So it's not that they don't care about you, they don't like you. For the people who that may be applicable for, they just don't see it. They haven't seen it. They don't know that this is you now. You're an artist. But the people who don't know will come across what you're doing. This guy I just found scrolling across the internet, he's cool or he's not cool. At the end of the day, if you don't put it out, nobody knows. But at the same time, don't do it for the views. Even though the goal is to get attention and views, don't do it for the views. Like you said earlier, do it because you love it, you enjoy it. Now, along the way, you're going to learn how to gain views, what creative ways you promote and put your music out so you can gain more views. Of course, do that too. But at the start, the views may not come like you wanted. But always remember, it's all about the engagement too. Because you can have 1 million views, but if only 5 people like it, is it even real?
That's bots. I don't know.
Exactly. It only got nobody commented.
Yeah.
Does anybody really care? Are those even real views? Your TikTok can have 1 million followers. Who's on there really investing in you? Who's willing to pay for a product you have if you want to put it out one day?
Yeah.
You might have only 5,000, but 1,000 of them are willing to pay for something. Greater conversion rates than 1 million only has about 100.
That's facts.
Because people want to buy into who you are.
Yeah.
Not just because you do music, but they want to know who you are as well. So don't just put out and promote just music. Figure out what else you do that you wouldn't mind putting out along with that as well. But still incorporate it too.
That's a good point. I think you're the only one who hasn't answered where you're going.
Oh, okay. Cool. I didn't get it right. You're right. Where am I going? I'm going where the road takes me. But to specifically answer that question, I am going to a place where I'm needed, wherever that may be. It could be here. It could be here and somewhere else. It could be somewhere else and not here. At the end of the day, I don't know. I have an idea of what I'm trying to do. I have a goal in mind that I know where I'm trying to accomplish for sure. But how I'm getting there, what's the route, I'm not going to know until I do it. I know what I'm trying to do to get to there. That's great. But how exactly am I going to get there? I don't know. I'm not saying I should, because
You shouldn't.
I live by the phrase of everything happens for a reason. People change like the seasons. You never know. I've been having 2-year cycles in my life. Just how I've been seeing it. Transferred to college for 2 years. Had job for 2-year changes. Major changes in my life happened in like 2-year periods for the latter adult years, just from how I've seen it. I don't know if it's going to keep happening like that, but that's just how I've seen it. But to say more on that, I have a lot I know I want to accomplish. And to your point saying, I know I do a lot of cool stuff by myself. I know for a while that I'm going to need a team to do what I really want to do. I just haven't found all of the team yet. I may have found a few people. He might be one of them. I don't know.
Shout out. Yeah, I'm down.
And I got some other people that I've been cool with for a while. They might be a part of it too. But I had to learn that you and your friends are not going to be coming up at the same time. So you can't bring your friends along with you on your journey. You have to go on that by yourself. And they're not going to be invested in what you want to do like you. So you can't bring them along even if you want to, because they just don't have that same investment that you have in what you're trying to accomplish.
What about like your girl, your partner? They coming up with you?
I do not have one at the moment. I don't have a lady at the moment. And it's not that I don't want one, because everybody wants to be with somebody. I don't care who you are or what you ask for. I don't care. Everybody wants to be with somebody.
Yep.
That's a fact. But to say that, I'm dolo. This journey I have to do dolo. Because she may not understand. And it's I've seen and heard a lot of conversations about that. They may love you, they may care about you, but they don't understand. They don't get it. They may say, oh, your little career, your little job, your little studio.
Your entrepreneurship is selfish for somebody you're involved with if they're not directly a part of it, because it requires a lot of your time. To sum it up, it's pretty much you have to be by yourself. I'm not going to say you have to be by yourself, but you have to be willing to be by yourself. It doesn't mean get rid of everybody. It doesn't mean you can't have relationships with people, but you have to be willing to understand that it can be a very lonely road. And sometimes it takes that sacrifice. Because if they're not a part of it, they don't understand the sacrifice that has to go into it, basically. So,
Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I do.
How so?
I have my own studio, actually. So,
Cool.
I would consider myself an entrepreneur. I would hope.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Yeah.
I know you do, like, obviously.
Yeah, I would.
I officially had the paperwork.
Yeah, I would
2
hope.
years now.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, I would hope that that is entrepreneurship, but yeah, so it is. It can be lonely. It can be frustrating. So I understand what he's saying from his point of view. Like, yeah.
I made this shirt here, fun fact. So I
Nice.
bought it, brought the print, and pressed it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to, like, do that for a long time. Make clothing, but
It took me 2 days to learn how to do it. It's crazy. I literally 2 days, learned how to heat press the shirt. Gave me the information. People I did it with, shout out to the factory. They gave me information on how to do it. Bought the shirts from the place. I got them. Ordered the prints from the website. And I pressed my shirts. Now I just gotta sell them.
it's the podcast shirt. I didn't even see that till right now.
It's
That's
one
sick.
of them. Yeah.
What is maybe it's a stupid question? What does double
Two
two
and
and
a
a half
half
LCs stand
LLCs.
for?
2.5 LLCs. LLC stands for lucrative life conversation in this sense.
Ooh, okay.
So you can at least get 2.5 of those each episode.
Okay. How many we got so far?
We've had about 2, honestly.
In this episode,
One
we had about 2. Yeah, about a
Alright,
couple.
say-
Yeah,
say.
yeah, about 2.5. Yeah, about 2.5. Yeah.
And then we get really random and controversial at some point, but we try to get the important stuff out of the way first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Gotcha.
To go back to the previous point before we go on to something else, it's a very lonely road as an entrepreneur. Sometimes you're gonna spend time away from family. That's important. You're not gonna be able to be involved with activities if your family's the type to go on trips and activities. It's just certain things you have to set time for yourself, and you have to know yourself too, though.
And you may lose people in the process.
Yes, family and friends, so-called friends. Sometimes, all
Yeah, I
depends
know
on
what
the
you mean.
status. Yeah, it gets tough. It's gonna get tough. It's not always gonna be up. So when you do start to go on that journey of that, if that's in your future, learn how to save your money, invest your money. If you don't invest your money, just learn how to definitely save your money and make smart purchases.
What kind of person would you say it takes to be an entrepreneur?
Determination. Determine. Don't take no for an answer. Doesn't be afraid of failure. If I had to say 3 important things: determination / persistence, doesn't take no for an answer, and isn't afraid of failure.
Self-starter. A person with initiative and accountability,
Adaptability.
sustainability.
Adjustment. Being able to adjust / adapt.
Definitely.
Being able to make decisions quickly and effectively.
I'm with it.
The hard ones too, not just the easy ones, the hard ones. Because you're going to come across some hard decisions you might have to make. And it's going to be tough, but it has to be done.
What were the hardest ones that you made to get you here?
Well, one recent one was, like I said at the beginning of the show, letting the people know that they aren't a part of the show anymore. Why do I say that's a hard decision, even though wasn't all the way monetary based? Because when you make a team, when you have people, it wasn't I hire you situation, it wasn't that. But it was something that we started together and then added on as we went. Been doing it for 3 years. 3 years. So, going on 4th this year. This would be going on the 4th year. But, since then, we had to just did what was best for the future going forward of the show.
I feel like you're not giving any details about that for a reason.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't air out. I wouldn't say dirty laundry because I don't think it's that
Yeah.
No,
deep.
it's-
But
yeah.
You don't want to offend people, but at the same time, you want to tell the story.
I respect
You want to make
that.
it seem like someone was an issue when it was a mutual agreement. You want to make it seem like, you don't want to throw them under the bus, especially when they're not here to defend themselves.
Yeah.
You just kind of want to speak on it and kind of let it be known and let it be that.
Yeah, but I thought you were controversial though.
We're controversial, we're not confrontational.
Well, I'll say this about the controversy thing. It's a difference between being controversial and being
Confrontational.
not even just that. That's just an ain't shit person.
Yeah.
Cause there's certain things that just doesn't need to be on air.
Yeah.
Certain things you just don't need to talk about. And that's one thing I'll say for you going forward in interviews or in your artistry. Certain things people going to ask you, you don't have to talk about them.
Like what?
You'll know when you get asked.
You'll know because it's gonna be a long pause before you decide, and it's just like, okay, because you'll feel like they know something about you, or they're asking something about you that you probably felt was personal, and it's like, how do you know? Or it's like, you know, if you speak on it, you're gonna offend somebody, where people are gonna take it out of context. Certain like now, for example, like you're asking him, if he was to go into detail and tell you what's going on, because I don't know necessarily what's going on. If he was going to detail and explain and they watch it, it's like he would be saying that they're a problem. He's not saying that. He said they mutually agreed to call it quits.
Right.
So certain things you don't speak on just out of respect for, I guess, all parties involved. And you don't want to make it seem like it's more than what it is or anything like that.
Yeah. That's like a huge thing to me that I think is going to be tough in interviews and stuff like that. I've always just like shared way more with people, even like, you know, people I barely know, than most people would. I'm like extremely trusting for some reason. I don't know why. And I share a lot.
It doesn't mean that you're wrong for it, if that's you. But I'm pretty sure there are times when people can ask you questions or say something where it's a pause, where it's like, wow, you know that? Or you'll know. Trust me, you'll know.
All right.
Because you'll feel it, and it's almost like, well, if I answer it, like, somebody could ask you right now, I don't know, like, are you single? You could be talking to someone right now, but y'all haven't made it official. If you say, yes, you're single, and that person sees it, it's just like, oh, now you're not claiming me? That's not what you're necessarily, like, saying. You're just saying, like, we haven't made it official. Doesn't mean you're entertaining anybody else.
Yeah.
So it can make that person feel uncomfortable. So it's kind of like that, in a sense, in a way you can answer, and it can offend somebody when it shouldn't.
Yeah. I think my problem is, like, you know, obviously I care about people. I care about what they, you know, think about me or what I say about them. But at the same time, there's nobody that in my life that I'm like that afraid to offend or like disrespect. Like, there's nobody that.
That's that 20-year-old.
Yeah, maybe I'll change my mind about that eventually. But
it's the youth. It's the youth.
Say anything, what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, man, about that.
let me tell you,
Man.
It's the youth.
Yeah, that's that kid energy for sure. Not calling you a kid, but
Yeah,
when people are kids, when they got kids, they don't, anything they got in their mind, they just say it. It's there. It's out in the atmosphere.
Yeah. You'll learn though. I promise you, it'll change some. You'll still be open, but you'll certain people you will put a little bit more, I guess, thought into whether or not you'll speak on.
Gotcha.
I promise.
That's good.
I promise.
Because to say, you don't want people knowing everything about you anyway. It's just certain things about you just don't want to tell nobody. Or you shouldn't, at least. Then again, I don't know. Maybe you do. If that's the case. But then again, I don't know if you may or may not have so far. You probably haven't come across too many people that use that against you or use it as ammo or try to dish you because of something you said about yourself or somebody.
Yeah, and then you being open about other people and about certain situations, like he was asking him, it's almost like maybe not for you, but it'll seem like you're putting their business out there then. So sometimes you can't speak on everything either, because it could be a personal conflict between me and you, and we have an agreement, but like the moment you start telling other people, then it becomes a problem. Right?
Yeah.
So not all the time you can, I guess, answer, but you'll know.
Isn't part of that, like, you know, that's what they chose to do, or that's what they chose to say? Like,
No, because, you know, you said business is between those who are doing it.
We all have control of what we can and
you don't-
cannot say and will or will not say.
Yeah, you don't discuss it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I just know, those are the changes that are in effect, and it's really actually none of my business really to know what actually went on. I just know that is the situation.
Yeah, I'm really just being like devil's advocate. I know,
Yeah,
I
get
know
what-
other
I get what
people's
you're saying, but
business is their business.
Yeah, yeah. In other situations, yeah, I just, it's just it's a, I guess, a per basis type thing.
For sure.
Make sure y'all like the video, and we got merch. Just to let y'all know, we got merch.
Buy the merch.
We got merch.
What are you doing?
Exactly. What you doing? Like the video, man. Don't. Rate 5 stars. Follow. Share. Y'all know what to do. Stop playing with yourself. All right. We're about to wrap the show up. Is there anything you'd like to ask us more, anyway, that you haven't asked already so far?
You like the area? You like living around here?
I'm born and raised here, so I can answer this the best. So I'll say this. When you get to know the area a little bit more, you'll have some things you like and some things you don't. But is it a good area to be in? Yeah. And like anywhere else, it gets repetitive, but it's a definitely cool area to be in. You never know sometimes what's going to happen when you're out. I'm specifically talking about downtown because they're always having something happening downtown.
Yeah.
And people like to eat a lot. It's like you're going to see a lot of restaurants, bars, breweries. But it's not too much studios around. They exist, but you're not going to see too much stuff the musically studio-wise. But you may walk across a bar or two that may have artists performing there, or a block party like I was at a couple weeks ago. So it's really a hit or miss as far as the scenery, nightlife. Always going to be people out on Glenwood Avenue. I don't know if you've been there yet.
Glenwood South.
It's always flooded on the weekends because that's where all the clubs are.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you will or will not enjoy it because I don't know what type of experience you like when you go out, but hey. But I'll say don't be afraid to explore the area.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things you may just miss even though you roll by it plenty of times.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of things people don't know about where they live at.
Are you planning on sticking around?
Nah. I know the world's bigger than this, so why should I?
Man, that's how I always felt, especially in Maine.
Yeah. I mean, Raleigh's cool and all,
But then again, Raleigh might be it for you.
Exactly.
And it may be, but you say you can't grow in your environment. Maybe he may need to leave and you may need to come in.
Yeah.
So it could be that way.
Facts.
Because I don't believe I'll be, at least not all the time, depends on how everything works out, in Raleigh when I'm 30.
Yeah.
AKA in 5 years. So I don't see myself living or always being in Raleigh. Or only living in Raleigh.
But you have a kid, so you're thinking about where you want to raise your kid. Is this the place?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, if you want to start a family, you come to Raleigh.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people have been coming here more lately. It's either after college or to raise a family.
Interesting.
I'm not from Raleigh.
Okay.
But I'll tell you where I work, and 9 times out of 10, if I don't know what it is, if I'm out in public and somehow we get on the topic of are you from here, nobody that I talk to is from Raleigh. Everybody's from somewhere else. It's just growing. So very few people I've met here actually say they were born and raised in Raleigh. It's always somewhere else and they came here. It's a lot of people from what I've seen, California,
New York,
Chicago, and Florida. They come here I don't know what it is, but I meet a lot of people from those places.
That's interesting.
Quite a few people from Arizona too, honestly. So, yeah.
Jersey, some.
I got family in a lot of those spots. Florida, New Jersey. But, man, Arizona was hot.
Yeah.
Like, Florida was like, the humidity was hot, but Arizona had no humidity, so it was just...
Straight heat.
Yeah, like, you're not sweating, but you can feel it. It's weird.
Oh gosh, it's like as soon as you come outside, as soon as you cool off after you played about a full court game outside in basketball, and you settle, and then you feel how hot it was just now. Oh, that's terrible.
I did my best to go from AC to AC as much as I could, because, yeah, not fun. Then I was door dashing, so I was like outside a lot.
Sheesh.
But, yeah, appreciate y'all having me on.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you want to say about yourself? Anything else?
Any projects you working on, or
Nah.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. I always hated that question. I would always just say I used to be a professional harmonica player.
interesting?
I wasn't a professional. I was a kid. I played the harmonica. That was it.
Got you.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Two last questions. What was your most impactful experience growing up, and what was your biggest learning experience you had growing up?
Damn. Most impactful experience and biggest learning experience.
Yes.
My most impactful experience was probably when I started writing songs and saw how they positively affected other people. Brought people in tune with emotions that they wasn't on their mind before, or they hadn't felt, from other music, I guess. When I started writing songs and realized people liked them and related to them, that was big for me because it really started all this. And just people enjoying my singing, my voice, that was really cool. Biggest learning experience was pretty much all of high school. I won't go too in depth, but my family was super religious. So before I could start learning or finding out who I was trying to discover how to act like a normal human being. So, I got made fun of. I got a lot of shit for that. Just for not, acting like a normal human being. And that was a big learning experience. And then eventually, I got through enough of that I could start trying to discover who I am as a person. And just be better off in general. That's how I'd answer that.
Just one more. As far as if you can say not a normal human being, what do you mean by that?
You remember in high school, there was a stereotype for homeschool kids?
A little bit of it.
It was kind of like that. I mean, growing up, I was homeschooled. And the first 12 years of my life, I lived in a house in the middle of 5 acres of woods. We never saw the neighbors, not really. So the only people I knew were my family and the people from my family's church. And it was like that for like 12 years. And then we moved to West Virginia, Florida, back to West Virginia, back to Maine. And I started high school and we got back to Maine. But that entire time, really, it was just my family and church. And that doesn't teach you much social cues. Or, you know, it doesn't teach you how to be a normal human being.
I got you.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
So that was a huge learning experience.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, fair. No, enough said. Enough said without having to be said. I got you. Would you see you didn't want to go in depth right there? You see?
Yeah.
Exactly. See?
I'm learning.
See? Certain things you just don't want to answer. There you go. See?
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we appreciate you, Sam, for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
And we appreciate you, the viewers, for watching and listening to the show.
Thanks.
As I say once again, like the video. Stop playing with yourself. What you doing? We have merch as well. However, this is the conclusion of the 2.5 LLCs podcast. If you want to find us on Instagram, 212 LLCS POD. 2.5 LLCs pod. 2.5 LLCs podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else you get podcasts as well. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at RETROD.R.E. And if you want to see new content I have coming up and known for my services, you can check me out on there, send me a DM, and we can get to it. I'll send you more information after that. Antwon, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me on Instagram at CarterBoy2521. Check me out.
My Instagram, Sam.Wright2020. WRIGHT, Wright Brothers, first to fly. SoundCloud, Luscious PM.
With that being said, this is the conclusion of the 2.5 LLCs podcast. In the morning, noon, and night, whenever you're listening and hearing this, we appreciate you. Share it. Tell your family, your sister, fine ass auntie. Let them know. Tell a friend. Let them know the 2.5 LLCs podcast is giving you at least 2.5 lucrative life conversations for yourself. Appreciate y'all. Until the next one, this is season 3. We out of here. Also, quick, we may start post bi-weekly, just to let y'all know in advance if y'all start to see a possible drop-off. Not a drop-off, we're just switching things up for a while. We may go back to weekly in the future, but for right now, we might, at least to start of season 3, go bi-weekly as far as releasing episodes. And we may not drop on Tuesdays anymore either, but more on that later on. Appreciate y'all watching once again. Y'all know what to do. Until next time, peace.